Welcome to Oklahoma Sports Scene. And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln, along with our co-host here, the TPS Hall of Fame Athletic Director, Gil Cloud. Gil, where are we?
I think we're with Jimmy's Egg.
We have to be, that's right.
Absolutely. Hi, Jimmy.
Egg. Hey, Jimmy, how are you? Breakfast, of course, we start at 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. And I'll tell you, the menu all day for you, right?
I tell you, from 6 to 2, you can get anything you want at Jimmy's Egg.
The best. Jimmy, thanks for joining us on Oklahoma Sports Scene. All right, bye,
later,
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Let's get to work now with the hot topics. And, of course, Coach, this time of year, everybody's talking bracketology, basketball.
Bracketology's it. We got the teams that are coming to Tulsa. We have the teams that are going all over the United States. And the first round starts Thursday. Starts Friday here in Tulsa,
right.
And we'll be excited to see who those first round winners are.
We set the field of 68 on March 17th on Sunday. Then we had a bracketology breakfast at Oral Roberts hosted Southern Hills Country Club that morning, and we had guests coming onto our show from that. Ted Owens, of course, will be joining us here very shortly, along with Paul Mills, the Oral Roberts basketball coach. And then, of course, looking at the tournament in March 19th and 20th, the first four play in. And then the regional play March 20th to 31st, Final Four April 6th to the 8th, the national championship game in Minnesota for the home of the Vikings there. So it'll be not just March Madness anymore, it's into late April as well.
Boy, it is, and I tell you what, it'll be real exciting because there's some teams in the tournament this year that have a chance to be that dark horse, I think.
4 number 1 seeds and 3 are from the same conference. And Coach, a lot of talk about that. Did the Atlantic Coast Conference deserve 3 number 1s?
I think the ACC sells themselves really well.
Yeah.
I think, and as we look around the country, I think the Big 12 does not sell themselves as well.
Yeah.
I think that down the line teams there, and I think the one that we have talked about a lot is TCU. Did not get into the tournament, and TCU had a resume, I think, that would have justified them being in the tournament.
So we're hoping to have 8 Big 12 teams. Now it's 7. Staying home are TCU, Oklahoma State, and West Virginia. The top 4 seeds, the number 1 seed, the number 1 overall seed, hard to argue with Duke, and Zion Williamson is back, and what a difference.
Well, you know, Duke, I think one of the things that we need to look at is how many players do they have that have enough experience with these great young players that they have as they get into the tournament, because that tournament experience is so important.
Virginia also got a number 1 seed, as did North Carolina, and the only one out of the AAC is Gonzaga from the far west there. And Gonzaga's a team you don't see a lot of, Coach, but they're always there, it seems like.
And then they get beat in the finals by St. Mary's.
My gosh,
of all
I know
teams. And I saw the Gonzaga coach on TV yesterday, and he said, you know, they just played better than us. They were tougher than us under the boards.
The regional final sites, by the way, all these teams feeding into 4 regional sites. The East Championship will be Washington, D.C. The South was played in Louisville, Kentucky. The Midwest, Kansas City, Missouri, which could do well for one of our teams coming out of here with a chance to go just to Kansas City, especially if KU gets up back there.
Well, I think it would be, or Iowa State.
That's right,
Which will, I mean, they said that when Iowa State went into Kansas City for the Big 12, it was like Hilton South.
That's right.
You know?
The West Regional Finals will be in Anaheim, California. Then, of course, they head up to Minneapolis for the Final Four and the championship game, the finals on April 8th. Coach, first round and second round in Tulsa, number 6 Iowa State against number 11 Ohio State, number 3 Houston versus number 14 Georgia State, number 3 Texas Tech. These are seedings in the tournament. Number 14 North Kentucky, and then Buffalo getting a number 6 seed against number 11 in the Arizona State or St. John after the play-in game. But overall for Tulsa, pretty good draw to try to fill BOK.
You know, I really think so. I heard a commentary this morning saying that they were concerned about that. I'm not. I think the Texas Tech draw is good. I think the Houston draw is good, and the Iowa State we know will be good.
Sure.
So consequently, you know. I think the crowd will be there. Now, I think the big thing is who wins that first round on who's here on Sunday.
That's right, yeah.
You know, because if it's too nondescript or not from the region, it could be a little sparse on Sunday. But, you know, good teams will play it when they will need to play, and that's what we have to do.
March 22nd, March 24th, BOK in Tulsa. Few fans who are worried about can't get tickets or can't afford tickets. Really nice. The NCAA always has that practice day, Coach, set for March 21st. They start at 11 in the morning, end at 6:20, and it's absolutely free. Come in and watch all these teams go through their workouts.
And they go through, I mean, it's one right after the other.
Yeah.
They're timed in there. They have a time actually on the clock that they run, and when your time's out, you're done. Then you have about a 10-minute warm-up, and then you start your practice.
So really, it's like being on the inside.
Absolutely.
You enjoy that.
No.
Well, of course, that's basketball. The only thing that interrupted basketball was, of course, OU's Pro Day when it comes to college football. And my gosh, Coach, what a show that was in Norman.
You know, they said that was the most credentials that they had ever, 120 media credentials for Pro Day for Kyler Murray to show his stuff. And of course, there were 17 other players as well. But I think Kyler Murray was the player.
No doubt about it. 75 NFL personnel were there, a couple of the head coaches. It was covered live by ESPN, covered live by NFL Network, streamed live by the University of Oklahoma. They said it was like a great recruiting package for OU as well.
You know, I think Lincoln Riley said it. He said, you know, how can you get this much exposure when it's not spring practice and it's not during the season?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the non-time that they had literally nationwide coverage for their program, and I think that's speaks well for what they've done. And I tell you what I'm looking forward to is to see how Jalen Hurts does.
That's right, the Alabama transfer. Yeah.
Because if you went back to back to back
with
Heisman trophies, wouldn't that be something?
You never go anywhere else, the quarterback.
Exactly.
Unbelievable. By the way, Kyler Murray had 66 pass attempts, a variety of different type throws. I hear they only missed, what, four throws?
Missed 4, and they said that they probably should have caught those 4.
Wow, unbelievable. So OU Pro Day is over. Kyler Murray, I guess still what we hear, Coach, is very likely to be the number 1 pick when the Arizona Cardinals pick in April.
Every pundit that I've talked with off the air and even one this morning that we talked with said that he's going to be the number 1 pick. And, you know, what a tremendous athlete. Gosh. To be the number 1 in baseball, and the number 1 in the first round in baseball, but be the number 1 in football.
Never happened before. We had a player in Major League Baseball and NFL in the first round of the draft. Like I said, probably number 1. Speaking of Major League Baseball, not for Kyler Murray, but for the rest of the fans, 2019 season gets underway on March 20th. Coach, ready for some baseball?
I tell you what, spring training is in full force right now. You see the scores every day. And it'll be very interesting. I noticed having like Big Al being a Yankee fan, which I am. My gosh, they had a home run derby yesterday. It seemed like that had 3 or 4 guys that hit 4 or 5 home runs in the preseason game. So it'll be exciting to get there. And like we said earlier, with the drillers getting ready to come back to town, it's a great time for sports in Oklahoma.
150th season of Major League Baseball. First pitch is March 20th. All right, Coach, updating some of our winter teams. So the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're struggling trying to keep in that first 4 playoff thing to keep a home court.
You know, and I understand that Westbrook will sit out tonight.
Right.
With his game suspension that he had. And they just have no continuity whatsoever right now. They can't play night to night and be consistent.
By the way, the Roughnecks, congratulations. Tulsa Roughnecks won their first match of the season, their second match of the season, beating Orange County 5-3. They're back home on Saturday to take on Saturday, March 23rd. We'll also have much more on the Oilers. In fact, 2 special guests to talk about making the playoffs for the first time. Stay with us. A lot to come on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Bracket basketball. Get your brackets ready.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lover's skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, it won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
And welcome back to Jimmy's Egg here in Tulsa, Oklahoma Sports Scene Show. And glad to have with us the coaches here. Paul Mills, head basketball coach, Oral Roberts University, and the legend, the Hall of Fame basketball coach, the University of Kansas and Oral Roberts University, Ted Owens. And guys, that's your second breakfast of the morning. We're all together at 7:30 Monday morning for Bracketology breakfast. Oh, you host, that's always a great event, isn't it?
They do a great job. I would much rather be in the tournament than talking about the tournament, but they do a great job of bringing in people and listening to their experience. It's a fun event.
Paul, give us your overview of the tournament. you think the committee got it right? Again, we have the 4 seeds, 3 of them coming from the Atlantic Coast Conference: Duke, Virginia, North Carolina, and Gonzaga out west.
What I really like is they gave teams like Belmont an opportunity to be an at-large bid rather than just defer to some of the Power 6 conferences, and to give guys, Wofford obviously qualified, but teams like Wofford, Belmont, and you look at the number 1 seeds and you really can't debate it.
Yeah.
And you're looking across the board at teams that are really talented, but I love the fact that they gave mid-majors a chance, and I think that makes for a fun tournament.
You know, we have the tournament here in Tulsa. Ted, what do you think about that pairing for Tulsa?
Oh, I loved it. Obviously, I wanted Kansas to be here, but I knew Kansas would have to be a 1 or 2 seed probably to be here because I want us to fill that arena because I want Tulsa to continue to get it. And I was worried about what if we get teams that there's no local interest. Well, we were lucky. Iowa State brings a lot of people.
You bet.
And I think Houston and Texas Tech will be. And listen, Buffalo was the talk of the tournament last year, and they have all those people back. And so I think the Sunday games, is it Friday, Sunday?
Here in Tulsa, it's
Yeah, Friday, Sunday.
yeah.
Right, yeah.
22nd, 24th.
I think the Sunday games, the Houston, Buffalo, Iowa State, Texas Tech, those people involved are going to be terrific.
Again, looking at the Tulsa bracket, I think we did pretty well to get fans out for the first and second round.
Coach knows from being in the Big 8 that, you know, Iowa State and the level of people that they draw at the Sprint Center in Kansas City at the Big 12 Championship. I talked to some of those coaches. They said it was like a home game for Iowa State. And I think it'll be the same case here in Tulsa. And to get the number of people that'll follow, obviously Texas Tech will bring some folks. They're doing really well. The University of Houston, and I agree with Coach. Buffalo may not bring a lot of people, but it's very exciting basketball, and people will enjoy watching them play.
Yeah, the interesting thing in the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City, Iowa State won their semifinal game quite a bit earlier than the Kansas game. So they bought up the losing tickets, losing teams' tickets, and so they had, for one time, Kansas was not Allen Fieldhouse; it was Hilton Arena. They had about 60% of the people in attendance.
Last 4 in: Belmont, Temple, Arizona State, St. John's. First 4 out: UNC, Greensboro, Alabama, Indiana, and TCU. That surprised me a bit.
TCU being in the Big 12, I think I would have taken them over St. John's. I'm not an expert in that, but TCU to compete at a higher level conference in the Big 12 rather than the Big East, to TCU to finish in the top 7 of that league is a tribute to Jamie Dixon and those guys, and I would have loved to have seen them in the tournament rather than St. John's, but that's simply a personal opinion, and I'm biased towards the Big 12.
That's right, because so many years at Baylor, right?
All those years at Baylor makes you really appreciate the league and what goes into it. Day in and day out, you were going against guys, Bobby Knight, Eddie Sutton, Bill Self, Lon Kruger, Rick Barnes, who's doing a marvelous job at Tennessee, was at Texas, and a number of Hall of Fame coaches. And it's a great league, and I would have loved to have seen TCU given the opportunity.
Well, Paul, having been in the league, do you think that the Big 12 suffers a little bit nationally about the level of competition?
Absolutely. I don't think that people are aware. I think they're aware of how good the coaching is. I don't think they're aware. They've never been to Hilton Coliseum. I've been to Hilton Coliseum when it was negative 27 degrees outside, and I said nobody will show up to this game. And there were 16,000 people there screaming their heads off. And until you actually go and experience it, Fred Hoiberg left there, went to the NBA as a coach. But they're a tremendous basketball team, and they have wonderful venues in this league. And you don't know that if you're in middle America, because a lot of your media are on the East Coast and West Coast.
You guys gave us some coaching tips too. Looking for a winner of this tournament, you look for usually a team that's a top 20 defensive team, but also, and you can appreciate, Coach, guard-oriented play.
Yes.
And I would guards. It's a guards game.
Yeah.
It has been, and it always will be, unless you have a Wilt Chamberlain. But it's
or Zion Williamson.
or a Zion Williamson, who in essence is a big who's a guard.
Yeah,
and you have to have guard play, but you also have to have age. You know, if you have guys who are older, 22-year-olds will beat 18-year-olds every day of the week.
Yeah.
And if you have age and experience along with really good guard play, you have a chance. That's why I kind of give a nod maybe to some other teams rather than Duke, because they're so reliant on freshmen, super talented freshmen. But at the end, age is also a big factor in this.
At the beginning of this year, they picked Kansas #1.
That's right, preseason.
They did not have a starter coming back from last year, and I said there's no way that you could be that good. And they've had the great guard play, Devontae Graham, Frank Mason, and so forth. Those guys in tough ball games control the game.
Yeah.
So you think the one and done teams who live by one and done are somewhat at a disadvantage?
I'll tell you, we played in 2012, played Kentucky, and they had 6 players who went to the NBA. I was on a team or coached a team that had 5 NBA players. Now their players were older. They had some juniors and seniors who went on to the NBA, but they had a guy named Anthony Davis who turned out really good, and Michael Gilchrist was the second pick. If you have a blend of young kids with older kids who have experience, I think Duke's issue is, I don't know if Marquise Bolden is available, but their starting center who's a junior. But they do have young kids, they just don't have a lot of older kids right now to blend them in. And until you're in that environment, it's just a bunch of thinking about the environment. When you go through it, it helps.
Yeah.
Years ago, we had 15 scholarships, and they've cut it to 13 scholarships. So that frees up 2 pretty good players who now play for Division I schools that maybe not in the big conferences.
Right.
And those kids stay in school until they're juniors and seniors.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you see Buffaloes. A few years ago, I can't remember George Mason.
Right.
You know, all seniors. You know, they're in the Final Four.
Butler's done it,
Yeah.
Gonzaga's done it. You saw that last year with Loyola Chicago. They have older guys, and when you have older guys, you're able to have the experience of knowing how to overcome some youth inexperience.
Part of the Bracketology Breakfast, fun thing, they had a Skype call with Joe Lenardi, of course, is Bracketology, the expert on brackets and stuff. I loved his comments. His Final Four, by the way, is Michigan State, Virginia, North Carolina, Gonzaga. He picks Gonzaga as his national champion. But he did it with a caveat. He said, now, I'm good at putting in a bracket. I don't know who's going to win. In fact, he said, last time I got beat by a Cocker Spaniel who picked any team with a dog mascot. I picked the Cats. The dogs won, so you never know what's going on. How about going through the brackets now? What do you think for the East and stuff? That might be the toughest bracket?
I like the #1 seeds. I like Duke. I like Virginia. I think this is their year. I really like North Carolina. I believe that they have a wonderful opportunity. And Gonzaga is obviously really good. The only one I would say Michigan, I think, as a 2 seed has a chance because of their experience. But overall, I really like North Carolina.
And a Cinderella team for you, or a team that might surprise?
I love New Mexico State. New Mexico State won 30 games. They lost at Kansas to Kansas by 3.
Yeah.
And
when Kansas was
when
really
Kansas
playing
had
well.
all of their pieces and had beaten Michigan State earlier in the year. And I like New Mexico State to have an opportunity to get to that second weekend.
Coach, quickly, your Final Four, your national champion?
Well, I think Duke's going to win it. The Midwest is going to be interesting. They have could have three blue bloods: Kentucky, Kansas, North Carolina, and I think Houston.
Wow.
And I wouldn't count Houston out.
I wouldn't.
I think they may be a long shot, not to win it, but maybe to get to the Final Four.
All this expert knowledge and stuff, and Coach, it comes down to, as my wife does, they have a nice costume, they have a cute mascot. It just doesn't make any difference.
Great halftime show.
Exactly. Guys, thanks for joining us. We have
Thank
something for them,
you.
right, before they leave us
Okay.
here, Coach?
Yes, we do.
Gift cards will
we'll
present
have
to
some
you.
gift cards that Nancy will give me to give to you.
Thank you.
Come back, have breakfast or lunch.
Great being with you.
6 to 2 p.m. Guys, thanks for taking the time, and enjoy the Final Four and the whole series here.
Thank you.
Great. All right, guy with us in, Paul Mills, head basketball coach, Oral Roberts University. Looking for a guard, by the way. Got a good guard, send him to us here. And Ted Owens, of course, the Hall of Fame Kansas coach. Back with much more on the tournament right after this. And Jimmy Zague for Oklahoma Sports Scene.
March Madness. There's nothing like it. The road to the Final Four goes through Tulsa. The 2019 NCAA men's basketball first and second rounds, March 22nd and 24th at BOK Center in Tulsa.
Beautifully done. Deep splash. Feeling it today.
Visit ncaa.com/MBB tickets and get your seats today.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brew house? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
Every minute, every day, and every night, there's someone who needs us. Every week and every year, we bring something new to the way we care for individuals and our communities. Every thought and every action is spent improving the way we imagine health and wellness. Because every child, every woman, and every man deserves the best possible life. St. Francis Health System. Healthcare for life.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. We're here at Jimmy Zague at 71st and Garnett, and we have our real good friend from the Tulsa world, Guerin Emig, to talk about NCAA basketball. Welcome, Guerin.
Hey, guys, good to see you again.
You bet.
Very nice to always good to have breakfast at Jimmy Zague. Always good to see the two of you anywhere in
Weren't you
town.
eating breakfast behind us? We were talking to the coaches there earlier.
Yeah, it's my first. I'm running the equivalent of a mile. That's my first lap. The second lap will be here at the table with you guys, and then I'll go back for more
And then
afterwards.
Nancy Smoot, the manager, was kind of bringing us a look at this, huh, Coach?
Oh, my goodness.
Chicken and waffles. You had to go south for this. Just come to Jimmy Zague.
Bracketology
Oh,
breakfast.
that's true. We had that early this morning,
goodness.
too. 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Anything you want on the menu, including that, anytime you want. Wow, that looks great, doesn't it? Well, Gary, let's talk about our five, used to call them the Big Five college basketball teams.
Yep.
What a disaster. None of them made it through the first game of their postseason tournament. It has not been a good year for college basketball.
No, I'm not. We could sugarcoat it as much as you'd like, but we got Oklahoma at least is going to the NCAA tournament. They're going someplace, but
7-11 in the conference. They're going.
Yeah, well that. The metrics though worked out for them.
Yeah,
I mean, they scheduled well in non-conference.
12-1 non-conference.
Yeah, and they had teams that you might not have expected to really jump up, do well, like Wofford.
Yeah,
that turned out to be a really quality team to play before Big 12 play started, and so. By the metrics of how the selection committee takes teams, I wasn't surprised at all that Oklahoma got in. Now, we've seen the Sooners play for the last 6 weeks. They don't look necessarily like an NCAA tournament team. That's the problem, and I don't know how far they'll go now that they've got their draw.
Let's go through the teams. You mentioned OU already, and they did make the tournament and be playing Providence team. What do you think of the chances there?
The Sooners?
Yeah.
The Sooners are going to. I think they get a shot to win one.
Arkansas plays Providence NIT game.
Yeah.
Oklahoma starts off.
Oklahoma plays Ole Miss.
Sorry about Ole Miss.
No, it's cool. The Sooners, I think they can beat Ole Miss. Oklahoma's problems are up front. They don't have much in terms of size.
Right.
And if you've got a team that can shove you around a little bit, they struggle. They got a team that can defend you, they struggle because they rely on jump shots. I don't think Ole Miss will do that, so I think that's a favorable draw. But looming in round two, of course, is number one seed Virginia.
Yeah.
They do defend.
Yeah.
They do have size, and that to me is a really tough matchup if OU wins the first game.
Oklahoma State, I made a note there, and our Tulsa World coverage there, the fact that it's been 10 years now since they've won a postseason tournament game. It's hard to believe with Oklahoma State basketball.
Yeah, and it's probably not the best look that Travis Ford, who was now two coaches ago, got into the NCAA tournament with St. Louis.
I saw
good
that,
for Travis,
who
did some good things, obviously, in Stillwater before he kind of ran aground. But it's been a rough 12 months for Mike Boynton. He did really well, I think, his first season.
Right.
Won over a lot of skeptics who weren't sure about him being promoted to replace Brad Underwood by Mike Holder a year ago. But they obviously took a big step back this year with not just the losses, but the loss of players.
Yeah.
And that's got to stop if you're Mike Boynton.
I think, Guerin, though, the thing about Mike Boynton, I think he's going to be successful at Oklahoma State.
Good coach.
He is one guy who's committed to recruit Oklahoma. He was at every game that our teams played in the state tournament.
That's right.
And he and the staff. And that's even when they play an afternoon game, they would come back from there to Tulsa to be there. Right. So he's committed to doing that. I think that'll help him. And I tell you what, they played pretty well with not very many players.
Boynton is a relentless recruiter. You saw that firsthand at the tournament, and that's paid off. He's got the Boone twins from Memorial coming his way next year. He has a good-looking class. He just needs them to sort of realize their potential, starting with the Boones. If that happens, and he gets his captains back, McGriff, DeZagua, and Lindy Waters, the makings are there for them to have a big bounce back, but he's going to need it after, again, winning just 12 games this year.
Right. Oklahoma State 12-20, and in the conference they were 5-13, finished 9th of 10 teams, only West Virginia behind them. Go to our city teams now.
Right.
TU finished 18-14, not a bad record. 8-10 though, 7th in the American Conference. Oral Roberts 11-21 on the season.
Yeah, well, I saw a lot more of TU than I did ORU, and a little disappointing. I know that they weren't picked very high in the preseason in the conference, and I think they finished a little higher.
Yeah, they picked 9th and finished 7th.
Yeah, so I mean, in that sense, TU, you could even say overachieved. But I see guys like Sterling Taplin, DeQuan Jeffries, occasional spurts from Scott and Joyner, and obviously Jariah Horn. And I would have thought they might have made a harder push to do better toward the end of the season in their conference tournament, where they went one and done in Memphis, and play some kind of postseason. And for them not to play any, I think, is a big disappointment, honestly.
It is. And what do you think about Barry Henson being out of a job?
Yeah, I saw that. We all hate it for Barry because we all know him and really enjoy him. It's been a little bit of a tough road for him since he left Oral Roberts, hasn't it? He's been through a couple of jobs. He might have been happiest under Bill Self when he went and worked for Bill for a couple of years as his operations director.
True. Arkansas 17-15 for our friend Mike Anderson over there. 8-10, 10th of 14 in the SEC. They did get an NIT invitation though. They'll play Providence this week.
Well, they're still playing, which is something, but I know the fans there are a little bit apathetic, and you don't like to see that in Fayetteville when it comes to basketball. They're not showing up for games, and I think I worry a little bit about Mike, another guy that we know pretty well from his time in Tulsa, and I can't see his future as anything but shaky, given where that program is right now.
NCAA Women's Bracketology. We're taping on a Monday. We just had our Bracketology breakfast at Southern Hills with Oral Roberts University hosting that with Coach Mills and Ted Owens, who are just on with us. And now we're looking at women's tournament, getting ready to be drawn this evening. And again, where are our teams? I mean, oh boy, what happened to Sherry Cole's Sooner?
Oh boy, yeah, that was you used the word disaster a little while ago to talk about the Big Five men's programs. That's a kind word with regard to the OU women this year. I mean, that was just a mess. And I saw that last week she got rid of 2 of her assistants.
Right.
So obviously, either she has the message or it was delivered that it's time to shake things up.
Well, and then 3 players have left since then. And of course, they've got the number 1 player in the state of Oklahoma to go as a freshman, Gabby Geggeries from
Holland Hall.
So, she's still on the recruiting trail, but who knows?
Well, it's a shame because she's done so much to elevate not just women's basketball, but I think women's athletics at OU and across the state. What a great ambassador that she's been, and what a great coach, considering their Final Four success that they've had. But you don't like to see it sink to the level it is right now, and that's got to be fixed.
The women, by the way, their Final Four is coming up on April the 5th. Then the finals on April 7th. That's down in Tampa, Florida. We'll have brackets on that later in the week. Talk more about that. How about your Final Four and your national champion for the men's?
Oh boy.
I know.
I hate to pick chalk, but this might be the year that you see Virginia, Carolina, Duke, and Gonzaga all get in. So, well, someone's not going to. You know what? I kind of like Kentucky maybe to get out of the Midwest. The Midwest to me is the strongest bracket, top to bottom. Mm-hmm. I think if Kentucky gets hot, and they're opposite North Carolina in that one, I think that'd be a fantastic Elite Eight matchup. So I sort of like the Wildcats maybe to come out of that one, but I can't pick anyone but Duke. With now that Zion Williamson is back, I can't pick it. I think Virginia's got, after losing as a 1 last year, on a little bit of a mission. And then we'll see about Gonzaga. Texas Tech is the Big 12's best bet, I think, to get a Final Four team, and that's Gonzaga's bracket, the West. We'll see how the Red Raiders look in Tulsa. If they look good in Tulsa, I like them to maybe beat the Zags and get to the Final Four.
Come back to Jimmy Zeg anytime.
Look at my plate. You don't think I'm going to take you up on that?
You're going to bring Barry Lewis with you. You know, Barry lives here at Jimmy Zeg.
He's all Jimmy's. All Jimmy's.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, man, my pleasure. Love talking to you guys.
You bet.
Best time of year, isn't it?
Great time of year for sure. Get your brackets ready. All right, back with more on the Oklahoma Sports Scene at Jimmy Zeg. We start eating this chicken and waffles now, Coach?
Any minute.
Boy,
now.
It looks good. Wow.
You bet.
Oklahoma Sports Scene wants to welcome our newest title sponsor, SNB Burger Joints, the home of fresh-made gourmet burgers and sliders, great sides, hand-dipped milkshakes, root beer and soda floats, and delicious homemade pies. All served with a fun and friendly staff, and we feature a full-service bar with over 65 beers and our unique Bloody Marys. SNB Burger Joint in the Oklahoma City area and coming soon to Tulsa.
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
All right, enough basketball. Let's talk hockey, and especially proud to be talking Ice Oiler hockey in the playoffs. How about that, guys? And with us, of course, is Rob Murray, the head coach, done a heck of a job in his second season here in Tulsa. John Peterson, our friend, is the voice of the Tulsa Oilers. Guy, what a couple of big games to wrap up the playoffs. But congratulations, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Talk about it, John. You called both games and just incredible performances in the net and on the ice, too.
Yeah, it was. It was very fun to watch. Knowing what was at stake this week, we went into it with a lot of excitement that we could clinch early and start focusing on the next goal. For me, just sitting up there in the press box, I'm like a fan with a headset on, and to see us come from behind in the third period, scored 4 goals in like 6.5 minutes to come back and seal the deal. That was pretty cool. I had to even clap a little bit for Coach as he was coming off the ice. I don't know if he saw me up there clapping for him, but pretty cool accomplishment to get to make the playoffs.
Makes your job easy as a play-by-play when it's successful, doesn't it?
Well, then the fans all of a sudden are like, "Oh, you sounded really good the other night." But if the other team scores, it's, man, you really you got to tone it down when the other team scores. But when we win, it's awesome job. So no, it was good.
Coach Murray, what was the difference? What made this a playoff team?
I think that there's a little bit more of a cohesiveness with this group. The team that I inherited last year. Sorry to say that there's a few bad apples that just wasn't good for the locker room, and I think that this season, talking to the captains and always communicating with the players, like these guys know that they're bought in and they're dedicated to doing the best they can, and I think that in itself is probably the biggest reason.
Talk about wrapping up the regular season, especially how many games on home ice.
Yeah, 9 games left in the year. We have 5 on home ice, so that'll be great to finish strong at home too. Wow. We play Wichita the last game of the year, which is always a big rivalry, and especially considering the playoff picture. And
you knocked them out, right?
Yeah, they're on the verge of being officially knocked out, but they can't catch us now. We play Kalamazoo a couple times. They've never come to Tulsa before, so it's a new opponent. The next time we're home is against a rival we could see in the playoffs with Utah on the 30th and 31st. And we're doing our annual Alzheimer's night on the 30th, which is a huge event every year. Probably will be our biggest crowd of the season on March 30th.
Well, that's great. As you go into the playoffs and you've got about 3 weeks, where are you injury-wise?
We're actually pretty good. We've our goaltending actually has been where we've been not struggling, but a couple of our goaltenders have been dinged up. Alex Crom has been out with a shoulder injury, but he could have played on Saturday, but I kept him out because Really did need to push it. He'll be ready for the weekend here. Still 2 guys that are out for the season, but other than that, we're pretty healthy.
And your roster pretty stable as you go into the
season? We just came out of a week and a half ago was the trade deadline, and I had opportunity to make some moves. Teams are calling, but I just felt I like our team, and I didn't feel like there was a move that would improve us enough that would, and you don't want to upset the dimension of the locker room either. So we stood pat, and I think we're in good shape. The good news too is that there's potential that we're going to get some guys down from the American Hockey League too prior to the playoffs. So that would be a huge boost to the roster.
The Oilers, by the way, record 36 wins, 21 losses, 6 ties. They have number 78 points. And John, we're closing in on some points and victory records in Oilers history.
Yeah, the last time we made the playoffs in 2014-15, we had 37 wins that year. Well, this team has 36 with 9 games to play. They had 78 points that year and made the playoffs as a 4 seed. We're in first right now with 78 points. So the highest the team's ever had was 80. So one more win and we tie that since moving into the ECHL. So there's a lot of excitement around the team right now. I think it's a really good group, as Coach said, and it's really fun to be a part of. I've never been a part of a playoff team in my 4 years in the ECHL, so it's kind of cool to be a part of it, and to have a guy leading us into the playoffs who's won a championship, I think goes a long way for the players that maybe haven't experienced it yet.
And drawing a crowd to the games and everything as you get into this final portion of the season, does the basketball tournament have any impact on you?
A little bit, yeah. We have to be away for a couple more weeks. We play Wichita on the road a couple times this weekend, and we come back home that last weekend in March. But yeah, we've had to stay out of the BOK Center. Can't even really get in with all the events they have going on. Yeah. But that being said, if my Sun Devils make it to Friday, you better believe I'm finding a way to get to that game. So
where do you work out when you can't be in there?
We play at the Oilers Ice Center on the east side of the city. There's our practice rink.
Over on Mingo.
Yeah. So it's a good spot to be able to stay fresh and stay out there.
Those next home games, March 30th, 31st, and both of them against Utah coming in. Coach, talk about some of the key players. We've had a few on our show this season.
Well, Adam Pleshkash, who was with us last show that we did, it continues to put up point. Like from the point when we had that show, I don't know. He's scoring a goal a game basically, and really leading the team. Charlie Samper, who was a 30-goal scorer for us last year, had a slow start to the beginning of this season, but it's really coming along. Ryan Tiesink has been outstanding for us this season, and one of the guys that we just got back from San Antonio, Stephen Perfetto, he's worth 3 guys out there, and our defensive core, the whole group of them, have been really solid. And I got to give a lot of props out to Ian Keserich. Here's a guy that was been retired for the last 6 years. Took part in training camp. He lives here in town. He just works, and he's been retired. Came out of retirement and wins goalie of the week 2 weeks ago. And what's his record?
7-2 with a sub-2 goals against average. I mean, really unbelievable numbers.
So these are some of those little stories that when it's all said and done, you look back and how did we get here? How did this all happen? Well, it's little things like that you can't get here without that.
I've always said the winning championships, all the years that I coached, it's those kids that play better than you thought they would.
Yes.
In the end, the good ones are going to play good, the bad ones are going to play bad. It's that one that you don't know is going to step up, and that's what's happened.
Yes, and we've had a few of those guys do that for sure. Another kid who's actually playing lights out right now that really hasn't got much notoriety is a rookie from Saskatchewan. His name's Ian McNulty. And he's really turned it on, and even the games that he doesn't score in, he's really contributing, to the team.
Well, John, all the hockey fans want to know, what about the playoffs? When do we get tickets? Who are we going to play? Where are we going to play? Everything up in the air still, right?
Yeah, it'll be up in the air. We'll have more information though on playoff ticket packages and things of that nature this week. Okay. We just won't know the exact dates and times until a couple weeks from now when more happens with the final regular season games. But the playoffs will start that second week in April. April, the week of the 8th through the 14th. We just don't know if we'll be home or away yet. Once we know the details, we'll have our dates and times out there to the public, but people can start looking at playoff ticket packages ahead of time if they know they're going to be around. We'll have more information on that this week.
Do the guys get much of a break before the playoffs? Or
no, it basically it stays the same. I think we finish on a Sunday, I believe.
Yeah, we play a Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
so
and then
playoffs might start Thursday. So it's a quick turnaround. But I think that's common, where it's you get a couple of days to prepare and then you jump right back into it.
Yes. You want that continuity anyway. You don't want to be off for long.
No. And that's that's one of the things. Like we've actually had a very light schedule lately, and I think it's been beneficial for us because we've been able to take a couple of days off that we would usually not. Right. Like for example, we played Saturday night. We had Sunday off. We gave the guys again today off. But if we had a Friday game this week, let's say we don't play until Saturday, we would be practicing today. So, just little, twerks of the schedule that again, being beneficial to us right now.
Both of you have been pleased overall with the support of the fans, the crowd you've been getting down there at the BOK?
It's awesome. The people that come out and keep supporting us, and it's a great place to play, as we've talked about many times on the show. And it's really nice to see them fill the seats.
You guys have earned this breakfast from Jimmy Zane. Nancy, come on in here. Nancy's our general manager here, does a great job of hosting things at 71st and Garnet. Nancy, what do we have in here?
We've got ham and eggs.
Ham and eggs?
Hash browns, bacon and eggs, toast and
and Coach has something else for you here too.
You bet. The next time you come.
I know.
We'll leave it on this.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Thank you.
Enjoy. Dig in, guys. Enjoy.
All right. Thank you.
Congratulations again to our Oilers, on to the playoffs, Coach. And boy, the city's waited a while for this one. So
good luck, and we hope that you bring another championship to Tulsa.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Enjoy, guys. All right, back with more on Oklahoma Sports Scene right after this. That's pretty good there.
Yeah.
Welcome to OKC's most unique casino experience. One moment you're surrounded by dazzling lights, jackpotting the latest and greatest machines in town, and the next moment, cheering home a winner in the greatest quarter horse racing show on earth. It's a truly unique 24/7 gaming experience. The only casino in the heart of OKC is the only casino that can make your heart truly race. Remington Park.
What we see isn't always what we get. A smile can hide 100 struggles. Depression, anxiety, addiction, and eating disorders affect more people than you realize. People you know. At Laureate Psychiatric Clinic and Hospital, we offer a wide range of inpatient and outpatient services to help anyone with any degree or form of mental illness. Laureate and St. Francis. Healthcare for life.
Robertson Tire has been your local tire expert since 1962. Now at RobertsonTire.com, it's easier than ever to get a customized quote. And with our price match guarantee, you can be sure that you're getting the best price. For more information, visit RobertsonTire.com.
And welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. But now we turn our emphasis to Arkansas. University of Arkansas head football coach Chad Morris joins us over in Tulsa recently for the Razorback Foundation's big get-together as they call the Hogs and get ready to have a big time here. And Coach, welcome to Tulsa, welcome to Oklahoma, and I know the Razorback fans are excited to have you here.
Well, it's great to be back, Chris, and I'm excited to be back, and obviously our fan base here in Tulsa and the memories I've had here, so it's good to be back.
This was actually your first college job, right? 2010 here at Tulsa. Talk about that.
It was, leaving high school where I had coached in the state of Texas for 18 years, 16 of those as a head coach, and Todd Graham was actually the head coach at Tulsa at the time, and I had came off a 5-7 season and had reached out to me. I was at Lake Travis and had great success. We had won back-to-back state championships, and Todd offered me the job, and I actually turned him down 3 times. And those that know Todd know that he doesn't take no for an answer, and so he got on a plane and flew down to Austin, where I was, and said, look, you're not going to tell me no. You're not going to tell me no here. Here's what you need to do. Go win the state championship, and then I want to fly Paula, Chandler, McKenzie to Tulsa with you in January, and then you can tell me no up there. And so I said, well, all right, Todd, your persistence is paying off, so we'll do that. And flew us up. I remember it was snow all over the ground.
Oh, my gosh.
As we flew in here, and obviously no wasn't an option. So it was, and the rest is history. So very, very, near and dear to my heart. Tulsa is, and the community because this is where it started for me in the college ranks.
I would say we couldn't keep you very long. Just that 1 year, that went off to Clemson, I believe, right?
I did. We went to the Hawaii Bowl. That was the year we beat Notre Dame.
Wow,
and had to kick field goal at the end and intercept the ball to win the game. So beat Notre Dame, had a great year, and Dabo Swinney calls, and I had to go. And I think Todd had left that year too to go to Pitt, and so it was just one of those times. But always enjoyed my time here and then coming back and recruiting Tulsa as well.
And then after SMU, Razorbacks brought you up there in this past season, 2018, and you know, as a great innovator of offense and great working with quarterbacks, and now you're changing the whole face of it and getting your people in there, your culture at Fayetteville.
Yeah, we knew that it was going to be some challenging times this year. Especially when you go from one particular style of offense and defense to something drastically different on the other end of the spectrum. So we knew there was going to be some challenges along the way, and we also knew that this was part of putting the culture in and establishing the process of who we are and how we built it at SMU and how we built it at Clemson, and taking that same model and that vision and put it in place at the University of Arkansas, and that's what we've done. And so it's been good to see the progress. I know this year was not anywhere to the standard that we want. We understand that. I know that. Our fans know it. Our players know it. But we also know we're recruiting at a very high level and developing the guys we've got on our roster. So great things are coming.
One thing I'm pretty sure you've got, no matter where you go, a great fan base. These people love to call the Hogs. They're passionate about their Arkansas Razorbacks.
Yeah, their passion level, as I say all the time, their passion level really energizes and fuels our work ethic as a coaching staff, as a program. We talk about our fan base all the time. We talk about how we impact living rooms and teacher lounges and parks and workplaces every day. And we know the impact that Razorback football has on our fans and on our university. And what a passionate fan base, Chris. And they're so deserving. They're so deserving of having a program that they could be proud of, and we're going to give them that.
Talk about your 2019 football squad. I know you got a couple of transfers at quarterback.
We do. Ben Hicks came from SMU. Played for us there for 3 years. I recruited him out of high school. I'm excited about Ben. Got there in January. He's really brought a lot of energy to that quarterback room and really has connected extremely well with our team. So that's been impressive. And now we're 6 practices in spring, and everything I thought that Ben was going to bring to our team, he has. Getting Nick Starkle from Texas A&M, and to be able to bring Nick in to add some depth and to compete for that starting job. I think we got a great competition going, and it really has elevated that quarterback room. And we all know, and you've been around sports long enough to know that if you got a quarterback, you got a chance. And so I'm excited about what that room is going to do to an entire football team this year.
How's 2019 schedule look? Obviously, without saying, you're in the toughest conference in America, the SEC.
Well, we are, and we're proud of that. And I knew that when I took the job, And that's the challenges behind it, and I'm excited about it because it's a conference in which you see teams that have turned programs around and been having success, and so and that's what our plans are to do. We'll open up against Portland State and they're at home, and we got San Jose State, Colorado State, and Western Kentucky will be our non-conference this year.
It's always a facilities war in college football at your level, and nobody does it much better than Arkansas. Fantastic facilities over there, and you keep growing.
Well, I think it says so much about the passion level of our fans and just the ability and to give the resources that it's going to take for this program to be successful. And to be honest with you, our facilities are continuing to grow. We opened up our North End Zone complex this past year, which is a game changer. We're constantly looking at what we can do, renovations of the Fred Smith Center. So there's a lot of great things happening. We're just moving into a brand new locker room there in the Fred Smith Center, so I'm excited about that.
Coach Morris, thanks for coming over.
Appreciate it, Chris. Thank you.
Good to have you with us again back in Tulsa. And you Razorback fans, get ready. It's going to be a big turnaround for the Hogs this season. Call those Hogs. Get ready for big 2019 in Fayetteville.
Here at Robertson Tire, we love Tulsa. And over the past 50 years, we've partnered with local schools, churches, and charitable organizations. To learn more, visit us online at robertsontire.com.
Each week we talk about the GTR, and we know for a fact that Forrest Cameron and his wife Sharon put out a tremendous paper. Well, I brought all 6 of them today. I'd like for you to see them. The Union Boundary, and here is the Owasso Rambler. And if you live in Bixby, how about the Bixby Breeze or Broken Arrow, the Broken Arrow Express, Jinx, District Gazette, and then of course the Tulsa Midtown. All of those, the GTR. If you haven't had an opportunity to read one, do it, and you'll be proud of it.
Welcome to OKC's most unique casino experience. One moment you're surrounded by dazzling lights, jackpotting the latest and greatest machines in town, and the next moment, cheering home a winner in the greatest quarter horse racing show on earth. It's a truly unique 24/7 gaming experience. The only casino in the heart of OKC is the only casino that can make your heart truly race. Remington Park.
The first big stakes race of the 2019 quarter horse season at Remington Park was run this past weekend. Dale Day has the report and the call.
The Remington Park quarter horse season is rolling right along and has proven to be very lucrative to many horse players as huge payoffs are now consistently happening. We'll have more on that in a moment, but first let's take a look at the feature race this weekend, the $50,000 SLM Big Daddy Stakes. Many horses use the SLM Big Daddy, named after one of the all-time greats in Remington Park history, as a prep event for stakes races around the turn later in the season. At 550 yards, it's a long run down the stretch. They're off, and the SLM Big Daddy Stakes Flight to La Jolla rockets away. Out by 2 lengths on the opening strides, right in the middle of the track. Moving well outside, coming on, Rock About It, Saginaw Creek from the inside. Bye-Bye Freight Train, Willie Rush all in competition, so is Better Make You Famous. On the lead, Saginaw Creek by a little more than a length. Trying to come on, still inside, Bye-Bye Freight Train, and on the outside rolling, that is Rock About It, going on by. Rock About It will score. Rock About It powers on to win his second consecutive SLM Big Daddy, 2 years in a row now, 2018 and 2019. Rock About It owned by Rock and J Running Horses of Gatesville, Texas. Tammy Johnson, the trainer. Randy Wilson was up on Rock About It, the 5-year-old, winning the 550-yard SLM Big Daddy. Now let's take a quick look at the top payoffs on select wagers so far this season. Through Friday, March 15th, we have already had 25 wagers pay over $1,000. On March 8th, opening night, we had the top 50-cent Pick 4 paying more than $5,100 and the top 10-cent Superfecta paying over $6,600. Thursday, March 14th yielded more large amounts with a $2 Exacta paying more than $1,300, a 50-cent Pick 3 paying $7,400 plus, and a 50-cent Trifecta paying a whopping $13,207. Saturday, March 23rd features 7 stakes races led by the Grade 2 Oklahoma Futurity. The historic race will be run for the 78th time. Also on March 23rd, the Remington Park High Q Test Online Challenge begins. $7,000 in prize money will be won. The game is free to play. Just sign in at therphighqtest.com to compete. Spring officially arrives soon, and the weather's now becoming very suitable for great racing and winning. Please join us at Remington Park. In Oklahoma City, I'm Dale Day. Now back to Sportscene.
The quarter horse and mixed breed racing meet continues at Remington Park through June the 5th. Reminder again, free racing, free parking. It is a Saturday evening at 6 p.m. along with Thursday through Saturday. Then on Sunday, it's at 1:30. Again, through June 1st, free admission, free parking. Go race at Remington Park.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lover's skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
Ditch Witch, 5 words or less.
Making the impossible possible.
Technology you can't live without.
Most versatile equipment ever made.
Customer service and support.
Reliable, productive, ground-chewing machines.
We're in this together.
Oklahoma Sportscene wants to welcome our newest title sponsor, SNB Burger Joints, the home of fresh-made gourmet burgers and sliders, great sides, hand-dipped milkshakes, root beer and soda floats, and delicious homemade pies. All served with a fun and friendly staff, and we feature a full-service bar with over 65 beers and our unique Bloody Marys. SNB Burger Joint in the Oklahoma City area and coming soon to Tulsa. And we'll wrap things up here at Oklahoma Sportscene at Jimmy's Egg with our parting shots. Coach Cloud leads us off.
I want to challenge everybody in Tulsa. You have great basketball coming this Friday and Sunday down at the BOK Center. This show airs on Wednesday night. You have plenty of time to get your tickets and support Tulsa and the Sports Commission. It's a lot of hard work to bring this in, and the economic impact that this means to Tulsa is over $10 million. The seating is 17,966. We need to have 17,966 in there for each round of this tournament. Support Tulsa, support the Sports Commission, and support these teams coming to Tulsa.
All right, now don't start throwing things at the TV, but it's time we stop calling OU a football school. It is not. It's a gymnastics school. I have proof of this. It's amazing what Oklahoma men's and women's gymnastics teams have accomplished. The men's gymnastics team, in fact, just ended with a 110 consecutive meet record. They're still rolling, by the way, on that. That makes it 47 in a row in football. Look a little shady there. OU has won every meet since 2014, 69 straight at home. And the winner over Cal Berkeley and Norman March 23rd will complete a 5th straight undefeated season. The Sooners then will be going for a 5th straight national championship, April 19th to 20th at the University of Illinois in Champaign. That would be the 13th overall in the 20 seasons of Coach Mark Williams in OU gymnastics. So how about that football? And the Oklahoma women's gymnastics team under Coach K.J. Kindler, also ranked #1 in the nation. They finished the regular season 17-0, preparing now to host the Big 12 championship on March 23rd. OU women have won 13 Big 12 titles, NCAA regional championships 7 times, and taken national championships 2014, 16, and 17. OU, the championship gymnastics school. Be proud of that. Quite a feat. All right, Coach, looking ahead here and talking about guests coming up. Almost baseball time here in Tulsa. The Drillers open their season April 4th here at One Oak Field.
Boy, looking forward to this edition. Of course, the defending champions coming back and with the championship trophy and the championship rings. And, of course, I think they did a great job last year. And I think with what the Dodgers are doing for them, they'll be right back in the mix again.
So Mike Malinga, their general manager, president, the guy who's now the Texas League champion guy, with us on the next Oklahoma Sportscene show. And, of course, a lot more basketball talk, Coach. It's that time of year.
We'll have some really interesting people in to talk about where the tournament is after week 1.
Well, that wraps it up for us. So, Coach, it's time for chicken and waffles, isn't it? Jimmy's Egg?
I'm going to get me one.
I'm going to grab one right now, I think, too. You doing it?
I'm going to dip it.
Enjoy. Again, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Jimmy's Egg. Can't beat it.